Good day, everyone. Today I'll be exploring and analyzing a theme that I found in Shakespeare's Othello. Shakespeare's Othello is one of the most famous of Othello's plays and is one of the plays that we discussed this semester. Oh, beware, my lord, of jealousy. It is the green-eyed monster which doth mock the meat it feeds on. This sentence by Iago reflects the essence of my theme for today's presentation, which is the dangers of uncontrolled anger and jealousy. Now, let us give a little bit of a summary of the plot of Othello. So, it begins with a girl who defies her father's instruction to marry a Moor, that is a black man of North African descent. She eloped at first, but is soon officially wedded onto this man. The name of the Moor is Othello. And there's another scene that a man named Iago is discussing with his friend Rodrigo. Here he is angry because Othello puts another companion of his, Cassio, in a higher position than him, even when Iago thinks he is more qualified for that position. This is the first show of jealousy in the play. And over the continuation of the plot, a series of plans are made in which Iago tries to paint Cassio and Desdemona, the wife of Othello, as defaulters. He tries to paint Desdemona as unfaithful and tries to paint Cassio as a betrayer, which leads to Othello killing his wife, and it also leads to Othello committing suicide. It's a very tragic story that ends in the death of many people, including Iago, his wife, Othello, his wife, Rodrigo, and some others. It is indeed one of Shakespeare's most tragic plays. Now, moving on from there, we are going to explore the historical context behind this anger and jealousy. Now, before this play was written, there had always been wars between the Moors and the people of Spain. Now, the people of the Iberian Peninsula, which mostly are Spanish, are reflected by Iago, and the Moors are reflected by Othello. So when the Moors came and took over and controlled a lot of the Iberian Peninsula, there were a lot of wars and exchanging conflict between the two sides until 1492, when the Moors were expelled from Spain and the Iberian Peninsula. And surely those long, many hundreds of years of war is sure to bring a form of hatred between these two groups. Because these two groups are represented in the play, we, excuse me, please, the hatred between these two groups, that's between the Moors and the Spanish, between Othello and Iago, is described or portrayed in this play. Also, there is a bit of hate reflected in this story, and also racism is a big plays a big part in the hatred and anger that is felt within this story. Racism is also the basis of contempt between Iago and Othello, and one may refer to the part of the play where Iago speaks to Brabantio and says, and even now, a black ram is topping your white ewe. That could be seen as some racist comments seen by viewing Othello in a condescending manner. Now, moving on from the rich historical context, we move on to the characters. Now, I'm going to point out two main characters that really reflect the theme of uncontrolled anger and jealousy, and those two characters are Iago and Othello. Iago, at first, is filled with anger and jealousy because Cassio is given a higher position than him, even when Iago feels that he is more qualified for the position. Iago feels he could do better, and that because he has had more on-field experience, he should be the one in that position. He also bears some hate for Othello because there were some rumors flying around that Iago's wife had been unfaithful to him with Othello. So this helped to further fuel the hate and the anger and the jealousy between these two characters. Now, Othello, at first, a military man, presented in all his glorious might, but he is feeble in a way that he is easily dissuaded and persuaded. Now, he loves his wife, but is tricked that his wife is unfaithful to him. This situation where Iago carries a seemingly harmless harmless discussion between Cassio and Desdemona and turns it into a full-blown situation is what causes and rises up jealousy and anger within Othello's heart. I believe it was within one of these conversations of anger and jealousy that that Iago warned, "Oh, beware, my lord of jealousy, for it is the green-eyed monster that doth mock the meat which it feeds on." And that just goes to show a bit of foreshadowing of what could be if Othello gave in to that jealousy. Now, Othello is blinded by the jealousy of love and is extremely jealous for Desdemona make makes every little thing seem like a very big instance or a very big situation. An instance where Desdemona loses the kerchief given to her by Othello sets off an even greater implosion, which eventually leads to Othello killing his wife. Now, the use of diction in this play is very Shakespearean, I must say. Shakespeare, in his classic method, uses English that is sure to confuse students in the present day, but were quite simple for the people of that day. But there were some specific sentences or phrases used by characters in the play that reflect this theme of anger and jealousy. So it says, one of them says, but jealous souls will not be answered so. They are not ever jealous for the cause, but jealous for they are jealous. It is a monster, begot upon itself, born upon itself. Another sentence we could take from that reflects this theme of jealousy is trifles light as air are to the jealous confirmation strong as proofs of holy writ. Another one says, then must you speak of one that loved not, wisely but too well, of one not easily jealous, but being wrought, perplexed in the extreme. And another another sentence that I have said multiple times. Oh, beware, my lord of jealousy. It is the green-eyed monster which doth mock the meat it feeds on. Very, very excellent words. The plot serves very key role in developing that theme of anger and jealousy. Now, we all know the importance of a plot in carrying on a story, in helping us to further understand what is going on, but the settings and the events of the plot are feeders that cause this increase in anger and jealousy. Now, the rainy night and the conniving of Iago with Rodrigo, that scenery of darkness and gloom and raininess is a feeder of the acts of revenge, jealousy, and anger. Iago's urge to steal Desdemona's kerchief, Desdemona's loss of her napkin, and Cassio's debauchery and further unhappiness, all these little things help to further the plot and help to display the developing jealousy, the developing hatred between the characters in this play. It is an excellent work by Shakespeare. I must commend his work, and most of his works are always beautiful ones. Shakespeare's works have always been filled with morals and with lessons to be learned, but this touched me the most in that it is so easy to look over jealousy and hatred as Othello was blind to it because of the love he had for Desdemona. Well, it is important for us to take one thing from this presentation. Love is strong, but if we let it, jealousy can be stronger. Thank you.